here with the awesome Kat, who writes CRANKRATS. You might have seen my interview, was it last MCM? For Nix,
MCM.
which is another awesome comic. But today we're going to be talking about your epic saga, CRANKRATS.
Hey!
Which is, what volume are we up to now?
6.
Volume 6.
Which is 19 chapters.
A long labour of love. Can you run down a little bit what the plot and the world? Because it's pretty epic.
It's, I suppose you'd class it as a gaslamp fantasy. The premise of it is there's two nations at war, one which is very built-up diesel punk, the other one is more tribal punk, so they're big 7-foot warriors. And essentially, in the war, the diesel punk lot made living weapons, people who can wield lightning, and they were dubbed CRANKRATS. As you would, that all goes wrong.
Of course.
Yeah, you know, if you give someone the ability to shoot lightning, it's not
generally
going to
goes
end
wrong.
well. Yeah. So they were all quickly sort of got rid of, except for one. The one that escapes goes on the run, and it's about his childhood friend coming across him, trying to hide him, and all the while the war's starting back up. But to make matters worse, the one CRANKRAT that escaped is actually a member of the opposite nation. So they have to hide him. But that's one of the stories. There's actually about 5.
Just one of the stories.
Just one of the stories.
So to say this is quite epic, multi-layered saga, as well as looking beautiful, is pretty much an understatement.
Yeah, it's very character-driven. So you have their story, you have the story of a lost princess trying to get along in the same world. You get to see things from the other point of view, so it's not all black and white. It will all come together. It is starting to, all the stories are starting to blend together now, 7 years in the making. And of course, all the way through, you've got this grumpy cat who's
a grumpy mechanical cat as well.
Yes, grumpy mechanical cat.
Because all of your comics have a bit of a
they all have
cat
cats.
theme going on, I've noticed.
Yeah, definitely.
And they are quite grumpy and judgmental, so I think it's quite believable, really. But you've got lots of creatures, because this started off a little bit more based on the real world, but now it's got all kinds of animals and an entire world building going on.
It started off very 1920s cross steampunk. And as things do, they evolve naturally, and this comic has kind of taken off to the point where gaslamp fantasy is the best genre to cover it, because you do have aspects of normal fantasy. So you've got wargs. There's no magic to be seen, but it's like I said, it's very character driven, and you've got mechanical horses, you've got mechanical pets on one side, and on the other side you've got creatures more based on the real world, but also with elements of our past. So you're looking at Ice Age type animals as well. So it's kind of like the old meets the new in a way.
And very cute. You've managed to get some very cute, ferocious beasts into this one. Cute, sarcastic, ferocious beasts.
The smallest of which is a flying squirrel who just constantly attacks people's faces. The biggest of which is a warg, which, if my measurements are right, comes up to about here. So I wouldn't call that one little.
And it's absolutely beautiful to look at. The art style is gorgeous, and I really love the colour themes you have going through this. It has such a cohesiveness, but it also shows an incredible evolution of your art and you as a creator as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's 7 years of evolution. It started as a way to learn how to draw a comic. So I never actually intended to start putting it into books. And when I realised that people were requesting it to become a book, I went back over the first few, did up the art, put them into books, and it's been yearly ever since. I've had a book come out every year. Yeah. So,
and we have a new one out this MCM as well, don't we?
Yeah, number 6 is out.
Number 6 is out now. Yeah. And these are lovely quality books as well. I've always admired the quality and the colour and things that you get into your printing, so they're absolutely beautiful. How many more volumes do you think you have in you?
Oh gosh.
It's a dangerous question.
That's a very dangerous question. I don't think it's how many I have in me, I think it's how many I can afford to print. But if left to run its course, I'm looking at doing this for another 10 to 15 years at the very least. So maybe 1 book a year, you never know, might be more. So fingers crossed.
Absolute labour of love, and a really epic. And just the amount of different things you've got in there, from the politics of the different sides of people on the war, the world building, the character building. I do feel as this was your first proper comic series.
It was, yeah.
You decided to not only dive in at the deep end, but perhaps dig the pool slightly deeper first.
That's accurate. That's very accurate, yeah. They say never start with a saga, and I just did, so.
Yeah, it's almost a masochistic level of love of creating comics, I have to say.
It's literally a labour of love, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
So where can people get hold of this one?
This one is free to read online at CRANKRATS.com. The books, obviously, I bring them to every MCM, but they are also available to buy on my Etsy. Other than that, it does also update on DeviantArt as well, which is where it started, so I can't very well leave it.
Still part of the DeviantArt community.
Oh yeah, no, quite heavily actually. It's supported me for 10 years, so I want to keep supporting it. It is also available to read on Patreon, and I do occasionally post up works in progresses on my Instagram.
Awesome. Well, we'll put links to some of those down in the description for you as well. And I'm also going to grab, just because I can, Nick's too, because this was the one we talked about last time.
Yeah, that's the one.
There appears to be some subtle changes in the character designs from the last one.
Already. Well, a year on there will be.
They look way cuter and prettier, but I've got the feeling it's still going to be quite dark and sarcastic inside.
Oh, you know me well.
Yeah.
Yes, pretty much.
So it's the same trick as last time. You've made it even cuter on the outside so that the darkness
pretty
inside.
much. Everyone picks up book 1 of Crankrats, gets to page 7 and then goes, why?
Why have you done that?
Pretty much.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Your work is beautiful. Thank you for talking to us again.
You're welcome.
And I look forward to reading these.
Yay!